Welcome to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. My name is Danny Heifetz, and I am joined by Danny Kelly and Craig Horlbeck. And today it is Power Hour, where we power rank something every Wednesday. And today we are power ranking the things we are not thankful for. Because you know it's Thanksgiving this week, and you know what, DK? There's too much goddamn gratitude this week, isn't there?
I know. This is a yearly tradition. We've done it a couple of years in a row now. I went back and looked at some of my things that I was not thankful for last year. And guess what? Still not thankful for a lot of those things. So, you know, I just feel good about this right now. Get some things off my chest and go into the Thanksgiving weekend.
Too much holiday cheer these days. You know, we need a little negativity to get us into the holiday
Just
season.
a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going through the past versions of this too. And in the past, we had Jason Garrett running the Giants offense, Matt Nagy running the Bears offense. We had literally Shane Waldron in Seattle.
Oh, did we?
We had Shane Waldron on this thing 3 years ago. So
we knew.
We're on the cutting edge here. So there you go. Yeah, it's, you know what, gratitude.
Lots of Arthur Smith in there. Craig, feeling good about Arthur Smith right now, probably, right?
I wouldn't say that. I'm feeling okay. Steelers don't have an opening drive touchdown this year.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
So, all right. So we're going to go through, and as you can imagine, we're just going to list all the stuff that we're not thankful for. Because you know what? Thanksgiving, I'll be happy the rest of the week. And gratitude's good, but like not today. There's too much of it. So we're going to do this Power Hour style. Every 2 minutes, you're going to hear this sound.
I'm thankful for Tom Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful for Tom Tom and Kai playing Tom Tom. I'm thankful for you, Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Without further ado, you guys want to just get into this thing? And also, just for scheduling purposes, we're going to have this episode, and we are going to have a preview on Friday. Right, Craig?
Yeah.
So, okay. So,
we're not leaving. We're not fucking leaving.
We're not leaving. Kai, put the timer on the clock. 2 minutes. Number one thing I am not thankful for.
Let me guess.
Yeah, you know what? Just guess. You're going to get it right.
Something to do with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, the Eagles signing Saquon Barkley. Can I tell you guys something? It's exactly as bad as I thought it would be, and maybe worse. It's awful. It's actually like and I have learned there's a thing called catastrophizing, where you just thought about the worst possible scenario of how something could unfold. And you know what? I was right to catastrophize when this happened, because it is Thanksgiving, and I'm hearing that Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter saying, why isn't Saquon being discussed as the MVP of the NFL? This couldn't have gone worse.
This is like the Forgetting Sarah Marshall plot where, your ex-girlfriend immediately starts dating or has been dating like a international superstar rock star who has a song called Inside You. Like, it's just the worst possible combination of everything.
It would be like if Saquon showed up at Heifetz's family Thanksgiving dinner in an Eagles jersey.
Yeah. And then Tommy DeVito is like the shirt. I'm like, I wish I wasn't wearing this fucking quarterback.
Yeah, you're in a DeVito jersey at dinner sitting across from Saquon in an Eagles
God
jersey.
damn it. It really is awful. Saquon, I mean, he has 1,400 yards in 12 games. He's set all these
Saquon's
records.
on pace to break the rushing record.
Yeah, and they have the extra games, so it's a little bit cheating. But regardless, he's on pace for 2,100 rushing yards. Honest, my hot take with the records, it doesn't matter. You have the extra game. You hit 2,000 or you don't. That's like, I'm not saying that's like the truth, like, and how it should be. But descriptively, that's the reality we live in. You hit 2,000 yards or you don't. Doesn't matter how many games you need to do it. He's probably going to hit the 200 yards, dude. It's horrible. This is like the worst possible outcome. And if you look, Derrick Henry was bad with the Titans. He's good with the Ravens. Saquon's bad. Well, not Saquon's bad, but the Giants were bad with Saquon. He's good on the Eagles. Like, you look at all these teams, clearly, like, being in a good situation matters. Having said that, this could not have gone worse. God damn it.
But everyone else is having a great time with this. That's the thing. Everyone's loving it. Everyone's having a blast.
I am. I am
too. This is awesome.
You know who's not? And on this topic, the number two thing I'm not thankful for this season is the off-season Hard Knocks. Because that thing's, who's not having a great time? Joe Shane, the GM. That Hard Knocks show is over.
Did they announce? Is that coming back?
I genuinely, I'm not kidding you. I think that the Giants, if it doesn't come back, the Giants got it canceled. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. The only reason that Hard Knocks would come back is because it made the owner of the team, John Mara, look good.
Yeah.
That is the only reason it made the GM look dumb. The GMs don't get to decide if they do Hard Knocks. Because if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's the video that's going around where Joe Shane calls Saquon. It's like, hey, Saquon, so, we're not going to make you an offer because we don't want to insult you. But if you do get an offer, why don't you just call us and maybe we'll match? Which is the most passive aggressive, fuck off and kick rocks I've ever heard in my life. And they're literally might never do the show again because the Giants look so dumb.
So there was a scene too where John Mara was like,
just not the Eagles.
It'd be hard to sleep at night if he ended up on the Eagles.
John Miller walks in the office. He's like,
lines.
Saquon, he is our most popular player.
Yeah.
You want him to, he could go to, do you think he'll go to the Eagles? It's Joe Shane's like, I don't know. And then he's looking at his phone and Joe Shane's like, Philly's out. You think that's real?
We got to make a subtle foreshadowing video of this where it's just like, boy, it sure would make me lose a lot of sleep. And then just like little clips of Saquon, like
him doing the backwards hurdle.
Then like like busting off a 75-yard touchdown. Like we got to make that.
That's actually a great idea.
Austin just texted us that the Mara family is going to be sitting around Thanksgiving as the Giants like play the Dallas Cowboys, and they're going to be just sitting there talking about
I drive a Dodge Stratus. He's going to be so pissed. Is that the same scene where he like throws Will Ferrell like throws a plate up against the wall at dinner?
Ooh,
or
probably.
Is that a different one? I can't remember.
I don't know. They've probably done so many versions of it. I'm sure one of those he did.
Dude.
I drive a Dodge Stratus.
Anyway, DK,
Yo.
what's your next thing you're not thankful for?
I like that we just gave 4 minutes to Heifetz ranting about the Giants.
I actually feel better. Thank you, everyone, for listening to that. I feel better now.
For the record, not quite done with the Giants. I am not thankful for just New York teams in general. I'm including the Giants here because, you know, actually, I've kind of enjoyed all the Heifetz hand-wringing about this whole thing the whole season. But
Schadenfreude.
The Aaron Rodgers situation with the Jets is just like, I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. I'm not thankful for it. They're so much worse than I ever could have imagined. I made the terrible, terrible mistake in the offseason of picking them to make the playoffs, which in retrospect seems so dumb and silly. But just generally looking at the state of the two New York teams, the Jets and the Giants, I looked this up for just for shits and giggles. Since the start of 2018, so the last 6 years, and I think, and I kind of put it on like, when did we start this podcast? It was like 2018, 2017, something like that. I said 2018 just for clarity.
Yeah, that's right. I think.
So since this podcast has been around, the Jets have scored the fewest points in the NFL, 17.5 points per game. The Giants have scored the second fewest points per game. The Jets have 34 wins, which is tied for last. The Giants have 36 wins, which is 29th. The Jets have punted 551 times since this podcast was born. That's most. The Giants have 502 punts, which is third most.
Hey!
So
not
these
the
two
worst.
teams
What's
stink,
that song
man.
in The Office? 500,000.
I would walk 500.
And I would punt 5,000
more. Yeah.
I think they have punted 5,000 miles.
Can we just, this is the two New York teams, like the biggest, like most famous city in the country, I would guess. Like, I assume it's like more than LA.
Well,
it's like the cultural center of the United States. Like,
definitely.
Come on, can we get some fucking good football teams in this
city? Expand it. Even every other sport too. I actually am not familiar with what the situation is hockey wise. Maybe New York was good at hockey, but basketball, baseball, football, New York hasn't been great for a while. The Yankees made the World Series.
I was
this
gonna
year.
say, didn't the Yankees go World Series?
But this was the first year, I feel like, in a long time that I have a memory of like a New York team being good.
The Mets made the NLCS. The Yankees made the World Series, where thankfully they crushed any belief that they should have won the series, which actually made like a nice. It's kind of like fantasy when you lose the championship at like 80 points and none of your lineup decisions mattered. You're like, oh, okay, so nothing could get done.
I just haven't thought about New York as like a dominant sports town in such a long time.
Well, it's because it hasn't been that way since 1999, 2000, when the Giants.
And even though the Mets and Yankees, it still doesn't feel like it.
It was I guess 90. The Giants lost the Super Bowl. The Knicks lost the championship, and the Yankees won 4 straight World Series, which is probably the last time it was actually all kind of cohesive.
Well, what about when was the last Yankees World Series was when? 2012?
And then the Giants won the 2007-2008 season.
All right, so
I don't know
kind of right
counts.
around there. It was nice.
Yeah, it's like yeah, but that's like when Stephon Marbury was like eating Vaseline on like Ustreams. You know what I mean? It's like the Knicks were pretty out of it. Eddie Curry was. Whatever. The point is, there's too much New York. Let's fucking move on. These teams suck. Greg, what are you thankful for?
By the way, you rank them like this, so.
Well, I feel better, though, because I had to get out the hatred so that then you can go to Thanksgiving and be grateful. So, like, I'm glad I got this out. Craig, who are you not thankful for?
I'm not thankful for pocket passers in the NFL. Dinosaur, stick shift ass, corded headphone ass way to play the position these days. Yeah, 8-track. Here are the top 10 quarterbacks in fantasy points per game right now. Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Brock. What did I write? Brock.
Brock Purdy.
Bo Nix.
You just didn't know who Brock was?
I was like, who's Brock?
Who's Brock?
Why did I write Brock?
Who's Brock? You know what's funny is my head originally, my first thought was the guy from Pokemon, like the villain from Pokemon, Brock.
What?
I don't know if you remember.
Right, Brock.
Remember Brock?
I do not.
Kyler Murray and Jordan Love. 7 of the top 10 guys on this list get at least a fourth of their fantasy points from rushing. And if you look at the top 10 QBs in just terms of passing yards, just total passing yards, only 3 of those guys are in the top 10. Joe Burrow is having like the best year of his career, and he's the QB4. If you want to draft a pocket passer and you expect them to be like a decent fantasy player, they need to have like a outlier
most
season.
Insane season.
Like Dak Prescott 2023, Joe Burrow this year. Like those are basically the only dude. Like you need to get that, or else it's not worth it, and you should just draft a pocket passer. Like Geno leads the league in passing. He's not even in the top 12.
Yeah, Burrow's a good example of it because I know that I was kind of like I was scared of Burrow's wrists, and then that ended up not mattering at all. But Burrow still had a perfect storm to get here because you needed the Bengals defense to utterly collapse. Like you need their secondaries in a mess, and their defensive line's a mess, and the Bengals can't really run the ball. So Burrow's just decided to they're just going to air out the whole offense, and there's no defense to rely on. Perfect storm. And Jamar Chase is having this amazing season. And Burrow's still like 4th. He's not 1st. I totally agree. Because here's the thing. Every year, one of the pocket passers every year is going to be predictable. The other 3 are going to be a mess because CJ Stroud's a mess. All the other guys are a mess. Jordan Love was good, but he got hurt.
But even if they're not a mess,
there's a Baker though. Just add a pocket passer that's hot later.
But at least Baker runs a little bit. If you look at last year, Tua and Jared Goff led the league in passing last year, and they were the QB 19 and QB 14.
Yeah, I agree. Rushing, dare I say, maybe we should tweak the rules.
I'm never doing it again.
Slightly.
I'm never drafting a pocket passer again.
Fantasy football, just tweak them.
The easy fix for all of this is just make passing touchdowns worth
the same.
Yeah, 6 points.
I do agree with that.
I think that's a good idea.
I play in a lot of leagues actually that do that. It's essentially to even the playing field a little bit, so there's not just 3 quarterbacks that will win you your league every year. And I like it. It's both the running quarterbacks are still very valuable, of course, but the passing quarterbacks get a little bump.
It is insane to think that when Lamar last night is running out to the corner, or Mahomes does this all the time, where they're kind of running and they basically are baiting the defender. And if the defender runs at them and they just toss it over their head, that's 4 points. But if the defender stays in coverage and they run in the end zone, that's 6. It doesn't make any sense. The perfect version of fantasy is what you just said, with half a point per first down, with half a point per reception.
There is a little bit of this is grounded in reality in terms of the real dual threat quarterbacks are just so fucking impossible to stop. You know what I mean? The actually really, really good ones. And if you have that guy on your fantasy team, that should be an advantage, right?
Yes, I agree with that. I also will say there is an element of football's a simpler game now, and there's a whole thing to talk about with again, we've been talking about this the last couple of weeks, playbooks versus programs and development and reading defenses. The flip side is I don't want to go back to the world where Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were dominating the NFL. The Josh Allen Lamar stuff is unstoppable. The Mahomes ending that game with that long scramble. I don't ever want to root for a Jared Goff.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared Goff's playing great because the offense is perfect. I don't want to root for another statue ever again in my entire life. I need my quarterback to have at least an 84 speed on Madden till I die.
It's nice that the top 3 quarterbacks in fantasy, Lamar, Josh Allen, Hurts, they're on the 3 best teams in the league, or 3 of the best 5 teams in the league. It's nice that it's not an Anthony Richardson who's
just garbage
4 and 7 and he's the QB2. All these guys are on good team Super Bowl contenders.
Not empty calories.
Piss off DK because I have time to play video games every now and then. But if it's college football 25, I won't recruit a quarterback if his speed's under 81. I won't even bring him in the door. I don't care if he's a 5-star. I won't bring him in.
You couldn't pay me to draft a pocket passer next year. I'm not doing it.
No.
Speaking of that.
Yeah. Speaking of it. Yeah. DK, what's your next?
I'm unthankful. Not thankful. Unthankful. I'm unthankful for Bobby Slowick and the Texans offense this year. It's been such a bummer. Yeah. It actually pains me when Craig talks about how much he hates CJ Stroud right now. It feels like you're taking a little bit of my heart every time you say that, Craig. And I don't like it. And I blame Bobby Slowick in particular for this. I just feel like the Texans offense should be so much better. We saw what they did last year. We saw how great CJ Stroud was last year. They went and added Joe Mixon, a really good running back. They went and added Stephon Diggs, but it's all kind of falling apart. Their first down success rate right now is 21st in the NFL. Their average distance to go on third down is 8.2 yards. Only the Seahawks are worse. They have 45 3-and-outs this season, which ranks 24th in the NFL. Their offensive line stinks. Stroud's been sacked 39 times. Only Caleb Williams has more sacks. Stroud's been pressured on almost 40% of his dropbacks, ranks 30th. Their run game stinks. It's like basically 28th or worse in every category.
And the run game is overrated because they dominated Dallas, who is like the worst run D in the league on prime time. But the running game is not like successful for real life.
Yeah. And I was going in and looking at some of the stats in terms of like run rate, early down success rate. And I don't think it's not only just that they like seem to like to run early downs. They're kind of middle of the pack in those stats nowadays. In fact, early on in the year, they were very high in early down run rate, but now they're kind of just like middle of the pack. But it's still not working. It's just like a lack of adjustments on offense. They don't really seem to have any answers to the issues they're having on the offensive line. The offensive line has performed way under expectation, especially with like Laramie Tunsil at left tackle. He hasn't been very good. It doesn't seem like they have very many easy button plays. Basically, I just want Craig to fall back in love with CJ Stroud. That's my wish for this Christmas season.
I think it's all that mixed a little bit of like Stroud. He's just not playing that great. And I do think there is a little bit of a mental aspect to his game. He'll probably be a great bounce back candidate.
He's 23 years old. Coaching matters still. And you know what I mean? Yeah. I think that, again, they're making the job hard for him. And like they should be making him better at his job, not his job harder. And I think that's my issue is I agree that Stroud's playing worse, but I still think like whose fault is that?
Yeah, you know I mean? Maybe this will be better for him long term. Like he was maybe too cocky. He started like 4 podcasts in the offseason. Also, Nico Collins missed half the season. Diggs tore his ACL. Tank Dell broke his leg.
Collins, yeah.
You know,
Nico Collins being out is a huge deal because that like their offense last year was just run the ball, play action, throw a bomb to Nico Collins, and he's going to create like an explosive play. This year, they just haven't been able to do it as much, and they've missed out on a couple of big plays too.
Craig, what are you not thankful for?
Kind of just like abject league-wide incompetence I'm not thankful for this year. I remember going into this season, we were talking about how kind of the secret key to fantasy football was finding the team that's flying under the radar, right? And then you pounce on them and you draft everybody on their team. And I would say that this year, those teams were, because last year it was the Texans, right? If you were able to draft like Stroud and Nico Collins and Tank Dell, it was an awesome year for you. Mm-hmm. This year going into it, we were like, Texans kind of again, it was like, oh, Texans going to make the leap. It was the Colts with Anthony Richardson with his first full season kind of. It was the Bears with Caleb, the first overall pick with the best supporting cast he's ever had. There was some talk about like Jags bounce back, a little bit of that. All disasters. We just went over the Texans. I mean, the Colts, Jesus Christ. Jonathan Taylor got hurt half the year. Anthony Richardson got benched because he's tired. Michael Pittman died. Michael Pittman is dead. Michael Pittman caught 109 passes last year.
Yeah.
He's going to catch 63 this year. I mean, when's the last time a guy played the same amount of games in a season and caught 109 and 63 the next season on the same team in the same
I'll never
situation?
Forget Michael Pittman being like, I might go on injured reserve with my back injury.
Yeah.
Playing, catching a touchdown, landing on his back. They're like, wow, you played pretty well. You're not going to go on IR? And he's like, that's not what I said. I still might go on IR.
Yeah, like the Bears, none of it worked in fantasy. And then the Jags, everybody was murdered. The Jags are like quietly the most injured offense in football this year.
It is to me just like the perfect example. We talk about this every offseason, but like what you see on paper does not always translate to the NFL, to the field. I mean, it's just like on paper, a lot of these teams are like, ooh, I'm really excited to see what they can do. And then it's just like so many variables. One variable, you pull something out. It's like that Jenga thing that Heifetz, the Jenga comparison that Heifetz brought up. It's like you pull one little thing out and it all fucking falls apart. Oh!
This is a perfect segue because the thing I'm not thankful for next, number 7 in this list of things we're not thankful for, all the wide receivers outside of like the first round or the top 6. I mean, literally like from like number 7 in your draft until like 90, basically all of them were bad. And I'm literally going to go through this list. We haven't done this yet. Shamar Chase was great. That's my fault. I was out on the Bengals.
My bad.
Huge mistake. My B. It's like, what's that? Guilty. And then like Justin Jefferson's great. Amon-Ra's been great. Those are probably the first 3 receivers off the board.
Well, CD,
okay, but CeeDee Lamb now has, that's the point. CeeDee Lamb now has Cooper Rush.
I was just saying he was the first guy off the board, most likely.
But yeah. Oh yeah, fine. But CeeDee Lamb had Cooper Rush now. Tyreek Hill had a month of Tua being out. Garrett Wilson sucks. A.J. Brown is good, but he missed a month. Puka Nacua missed a month. Michael Pittman, as Craig said, died. Marvin Harrison Jr. has 9 more yards than Hunter Henry. Chris Olave's career is in jeopardy, and he was outdone by Rashid Shaheed and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Nico Collins has been elite, but he missed a month. Devontae Adams faked a hamstring injury, got traded, is doing nothing on the Jets. Malik Neighbors was incredible, just a tease, and now they can't even get him the ball till they're down 30 points, and he wants everyone fired.
Tommy Cutlets.
Deebo Samuel is hurt, and the 49ers are lying about it. Mike Evans missed a month. DK Metcalf has had 1 great game since October began. Brandon Ayuk was bad. Then he's out for the season because he shredded his knee. Cooper Kupp missed a month. DJ Moore, unplayable for a month. Probably would have been better if he had not played for your fantasy team. Devontae Smith has been fine, but he's hurt now. Jalen Waddle, literally the bane of my existence. Amari Cooper was stuck with Deshaun Watson and healthy. Now he's with Josh Allen and he's hurt. Wrist injury. Zay Flowers, you're cool. Stephon Diggs out for the season, torn ACL. T. Higgins missed 5 games. George Pickens, you're cool. Kind of crazy, but you're on my side. Rashee Rice, unbelievable. And then Mahomes cooked Rice. And like Patrick Mahomes tore his knee. Calvin Ridley has his... No, fuck the music. Well, I'm not done yet, guys.
It's taking so long to literally just read how crappy all these receivers are.
I'm not cherry picking. This is the order they were drafted in my home league. I'm reading the draft recap. This is not even cherry picking. Calvin Ridley has as many games over 12 fantasy points as he has games under 12 yards. Tank Dell has been awful, despite us wringing our hands about Dell and Diggs and Nico Collins. Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs got hurt, and Tank Dell still has sucked. Terry McLaurin, you're cool. Nice. Chris Godwin was unbelievable, the best pick in fantasy, and he's out for the season. Back to work, Joe. Deontay Johnson literally is playing behind Tylan Wallace for Baltimore. Xavier Worthy has not had 61 yards since week 4. Keenan Allen did not have 45 yards in a game on this season until this week. Christian Watson, his 2 best games were followed up by his 2 worst games, so you probably only played him for the 2 bad games. Jackson Smith and Jigba, you're cool. Roma Dunze's been awful. The only good receivers outside the first round were Zay Flowers, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cortland Sutton, who you might have cut or traded in the first month of the season, and then Brian Thomas, who now has Mac Jones. The receiver position was a disaster, and the running back is the healthiest running back year of our entire lives.
This is such a great point, Heifetz. I think it's like one of those things where if you zoom out, you like, or if you're like really focused in on your specific team, you're like, maybe don't realize it. But when you zoom out, you're like, dude, everybody has been having just issues at the receiver position. Yeah. Imagine like, I think the delta between how good you felt about your team this year after the draft compared 100%. To like how it's doing during the season is like never been higher for some reason. Yeah. Unless you drafted like, Saquon, Henry, or like Lamar, a handful of other guys that have been like the MVPs of the season. I think your expectations and reality, it's like the Instagram thing. It's like never been more like drastic. Pretty crazy. I would say throw Khalil Shakir in there.
Shakir's been fine, but that's a guy outside the top 100, basically. Right. Like, and that's my point.
Sure.
I just listed 35 receivers. You feel good about them right now, about 4 of them. That's incredible.
That's terrible.
Maybe 5. Anyway.
There's going to be a huge overcorrection next year, I think, in drafts where everyone is going to go after running backs and wide receivers are going to fall. And then things will regress back to the mean and running backs will get hurt like they normally do. Like
I agree.
They did not this year, and wide receivers will stay healthy and be great.
I think that's one of the most important. I think there's so much of rankings right now comes from the best ball world and like all these best ball bros and everyone who's just kind of like doing mock drafts and underdog over the summer. And frankly, I think that there's like an existential crisis in that space because they basically spent all summer, and they're really smart. I have no shade, but they spent all summer being like, don't draft Derrick Henry and Saquon. And I do think there's a massive I think you're totally right, Craig. There's a massive overcorrection brewing. Because like you can't bank on the healthiest running backs. Like, meanwhile, the only running backs who've missed any time of the top 20 you drafted are McCaffrey,
Jonathan Taylor,
ETN, who sucked. John Taylor missed like 3 or 4 games, and then Pacheco. The other 16 have missed what, 2 or 3 games combined?
It's crazy how healthy everybody has been.
I could be wrong on that, but like the other 16 have. I don't know if they've missed 6 games together, the other 16 players.
No, I mean, you think about like Breece Hall, Bijan, Derrick Henry, Saquon, the Lions guys, Josh Jacobs. Yeah.
Achane. Like, that's it. Like, they've all played. So anyway, it's insane. All right. So, DK, what are you not thankful for?
So this is something I do every year. I have to complain about the NFL's like random emphasis. Like, you know, the NFL gets together during the owners' meetings or whatever. I think the competition committee meets and they were like, okay, let's do something this year that's going to annoy everyone for no apparent reason. Like, let's get together and make this rule an emphasis. A couple years ago, it was like, we can't have players celebrating. It's ruining the game of football.
Right. That was John Mara. He didn't like Tyreek Hill doing the peace sign in the
these
Super Bowl.
Old heads just like get together and decide, let's make everyone annoyed for no apparent reason whatsoever. And this year, it's been the NFL's emphasis on illegal formations. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I always notice this every year or every week. It's like, it feels like 2 to 3 big plays get erased every single week because a tackle lined up half a yard too far off the line of scrimmage. Or a guy didn't like pause enough when he was going in motion and get set and pause for like an extra beat, according to the referee. And like half the time it's like total bullshit. Like, who gives a shit? Here's the stats so far. I got this from NFLpenalties.com. 2024, so far there's been 92 illegal formation penalties accepted, 50 dismissed. So 142 illegal formation penalties have been called. That's a 201 penalty pace on the season. Last year, 80 total in 17 weeks. So 2.5 times the illegal formation penalties we've seen this year. For what reason? Did anyone give a fuck about this before the year? Was everyone like, oh man, you know what? It really annoys me when that tackle is like a half a yard. Like, I understand when they like start going back too early, like that's annoying, like the offensive tackles. But like, who gives a fuck? This is the stupidest emphasis. I hate this. It's the ticky-tack, formational, like bureaucracy stuff that the NFL seems to really care about. I just can't stand this shit. It's so annoying. And it's
Can I lightly
2.5
push
times
back, DK?
more.
Can I lightly push back? I think that this is the... Oh,
it's actually the opposite.
Sorry,
Danny Heifetz special.
It's actually
we're
the
moving
opposite.
on, Tom.
I think this is the best refereed season in 10 years.
I feel like you said that last year.
It's the best. This is the best. I'm sorry. This is the best refereeing there's ever been. And you know how I know it? It's 7th on our list. And we're talking about illegal formations every now and then. The reality is they're using this expedited replay to undo all the fucked up calls. And like, we're not that mad every week. Like,
here's
I think
the deal,
though.
Indisputably, they could do everything you're saying, which I generally agree with. Like, there hasn't been as many like crazy. The catch rule is sort of fixed. Blah blah blah. They could make it could be 10 times better if they just get rid of this fucking emphasis on illegal formations.
I agree, but I actually think the illegal formations, because teams are complaining about it, and the teams asked for it.
They have to pick one thing every year that's just going to be ruin like the flow of the game.
We shit on the refs all the time. This is the Chiefs' fault.
They didn't have to do this.
Taylor lines up, and everyone's mad that Chiefs just won back-to-back Super Bowls. 30 teams complained about the Chiefs, so the refs had to do something. It's fucking Kansas City's fault because everyone bitched about this. They won the Super Bowl. They didn't really do it that much, and then then he was the most penalized player in the league. They won the Super Bowl again, and everyone's like, "No, you got to fucking do the illegal formation." It's fucking Kansas City's fault.
Yeah, but
the refs are just hearing about it from 30 teams. His
deal was that he was getting a head start at the snap. I think that was the real.
He was also lined really far back, and it got. But the flip side is, I swear email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com if you've noticed this. I think they've stopped calling false starts. I see more uncalled false starts the last year than I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, there are so many times that I really do think there are like the amount of times where they kind of take the extra beat and they're like, wait, talk to New York. What did you see? Like the Mark Andrews touchdown on Monday Night Football is a perfect example. They called it out of bounds.
Where he landed his whole body in bounds. And they thought he was out of bounds.
This is where, now I'm like the guy defending refs. His back, he was behind Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews landed with his back to him, and the defender's hand was in there, and it was a little hard to see, but he's looking behind Mark Andrews. He doesn't see. He sees Mark Andrews adjusted at the end. He's like, oh, there's no possession. And you know what that ref did? They do the review, and New York's like, because instead of like the call on the field, what they've changed in the process, it used to be ref called touchdown. We have to stick with that. Is there indisputable evidence it's not a touchdown? Now they're like, wait, why don't we take 30 extra fucking seconds and let the call be determined by the replay without that crazy standard? Because the ref didn't see it, his back's to it. And so now that call 2 years ago, that would have been, well, we don't know for sure, so I guess it's going to be incomplete. Now they're like, that's a touchdown. And the ref's like, thank God I didn't see it. The refereeing's actually way better now.
I don't disagree with you, but my point is it's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back with the NFL every fucking year. For some reason, they decide they have to emphasize some really inane thing that only like no one cares about, and it makes the product worse. Every year they do this.
Let's bring in Terry McCauley. Terry, do you think refereeing has been better than ever? No, I disagree. Oh, great. Thanks, Terry.
Where's that leave us?
Oh my God. All right. Next up, DK, what else are you pissed about? Sorry that I fought back. I just think we got to give the refs some credit. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not blaming the refs. I'm blaming the competition committee for making this an emphasis. It's stupid.
It's the Chiefs. Screwed it up. Yeah.
It's Mahomes' fault.
Anyway, Sean Payton's kind of a communist in terms of the way that he thinks that everyone gets an equal share on his team. There's no better player gets more reps or worse player gets fewer. Everybody gets the same amount of snaps. That's Sean Payton's whole philosophy. And guess what? It fucking sucks. It annoys the shit out of me from a fantasy point of view. It also, by the way, if I would have told you before the year that Bo Nix through 12 weeks is the quarterback 8, he's averaging 22 points a game over the last 4 or 5 games, wouldn't you be like, oh man, like Craig was saying, the Broncos, they are the secret team that would have gotten you your fantasy wins this year.
Yeah.
This is the potential for championships. No, there's exactly one player other than Nix that's usable in this offense, and it's Cortland Sutton, who's been awesome. And he plays 85% of snaps. That's great. Guess what? Everyone else in the receiver core, Josh Reynolds, he's hurt now, I think, but he had 58% of the snaps. Little Jordan Humphrey, 55%. Devon Bailey, 51%. Troy Franklin, 36%. Marvin Mims, 22%. So basically, barely over 50% is the next closest receiver in that group. It's a rotation. Tight ends, rotation. Adam Troutman of all people, 52% of the snaps. Greg Dulcich just got cut after playing 45% of the snaps when he was playing. Nate Atkins, who we've used multiple times in the 2 tight ends in a lie, I think. 35% of the snaps. Lucas Kroll, 35% of the snaps.
No, good rotation. Lucas Kroll is at Coachella this week.
Right. He's headlining.
Not a tight end.
Running backs, Javonte Williams, 55%. Jaleel McLaughlin, 27%. Estimate 13%. Tyler Bidet, 10%. No one on this team has a higher than 39% rush rate.
He's keeping you on your toes. He's like swapping in hockey lines of players coming in and out.
Yeah. No, and you know what's funny? The Saints were like this too under Payton. Remember all this? I feel like every Drew Brees primetime game ever, they'd be like, wow, Drew Brees completed 9 passes to 9 different people for the first time since Cloyce Box in 1949. Every single time. It was only Drew Brees and Milt Plum have committed so many different passes to different people.
Anyway, look, this is a fantasy podcast, so I'm going to complain about things that annoy me in fantasy. And Drew Brees, can you just just give the same guys the amount of 80% snaps, please, for the love of God?
Craig,
maybe no one's good except Cortland Sutton, and he's just.
I mean, that's
and Cortland Sutton was so bad to start the year. We did buy low trade candidates 3 weeks in a row, and we talked about Cortland Sutton as a buy low 3 weeks in a row because that's how long it was a buy low window he wasn't producing for 5 or 6 weeks. Craig, what else are you not thankful for?
Amazon. I'm not thankful for Amazon.
Okay.
Mainly because of the Black Friday game. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I know I'm always the guy who's there's too much football. I'm okay with Christmas Day, Wednesday games. I get it. The Saturday thing after the college football window is open and you can start playing games on Saturday. I get it. It's a lot. The playoff game on Monday, I get it. I'm just Black Friday, we actually don't need. It's a noon game, and it's the Chiefs and the Raiders.
There's 3 games on Thursday.
Well, there's always 3 games on Thursday.
I know, but I'm saying we don't need another one thrown in on Friday.
We don't. Right now, we
fine.
don't. That is the one day where it's you just have that day off, and there's no sports, and you can just enjoy it. And now there's a game at noon, just torpedoing your day. Also, the movie Red One was an embarrassment. Is an abomination. Way to go, Amazon.
Abomination. Did you watch it?
Hell no.
Did Amazon make Red One?
Yeah.
Is it on Prime or is it in theaters? I haven't really paid attention.
It's a small window in theaters, and then they're putting it on Amazon. It's they basically compare Santa and the North Pole to to Amazon. And they basically treat the North Pole like it's a shipping factory.
It's all SpawnCon.
And the purpose of Christmas is to be an efficient machine that delivers packages.
So The Rock pitched that, what if Jeff Bezos was Santa?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So not very compelling.
I know. Heifetz, you don't care about you enjoy the Black Friday thing more?
No, I mean I wrote a whole story. I mean, honestly, I wrote a story about this for the Ringer last year, and I actually, if you just Google the Ringer Heifetz Black Friday Amazon, I wrote this long story about it.
Nominated for a big award for that, by the way.
I did actually. It was very funny. This is a little humble brag, but I was nominated for an award, and it was 8 other stories. It was the Dan Jenkins Medal. and his daughter Sally Jenkins won it rightfully because all the other stories are like, Martina Navratilova, overcame cancer. It was like all these reporting of like these people overcame cancer and like they got through it together and look at all these things. And then mine was like, I think Amazon wants to sell you stuff. And it was pretty funny to have mine on the list. But yeah, the whole thing was that this football game is representative of the next era of like the streamers overtaking these like traditional broadcasters. And basically the short answer is like, they have so many other ways to maximize these games and make money off them. And it's like, Amazon is like, this is just a lab on Black Friday to like sell you stuff and like the interactivity with commercials. And like, basically it's like commercials when you can buy something with a clicky remote. That's basically a concession stand. It's kind of insane to think that you can just buy stuff from your commercial and there's QR code. And they want a Hess truck? Here's a Hess truck. Like, you just click it right there. Here's a QR code. Like, just buy it. It's like a totally different era.
This is like late stage capitalism. Maybe Sean Payton's just pushing back on that.
Yeah,
that's why he's running his team the way he is.
I don't know why Sean Payton doesn't seem like a communist to me. I don't know
he seems like a capitalist.
Guy? Yeah, the Walmart employee.
Yeah. Guy who makes $19 million a year.
I don't get socialist vibes from Sean Payton.
Sean Payton's low-key trying to unionize.
That is the NFL, though. The NFL is socialism for the rich and capitalism for the poor because they share the money. The whole reason the NFL works is because the Bengals get to spend the same amount of money as the New York Giants. That's the whole reason the whole thing works.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. That was supposed to just be a little quip. I don't actually believe he's a communist, okay?
Well,
I mean, maybe he is.
Don't edit this to say, I killed that man. Okay. All right, speaking of the 3 Thanksgiving games, though, the Ringer Fantasy Football Show is brought to you by FanDuel. It is all gravy this weekend on FanDuel, which means you're getting a feast of rewards all weekend long. And right now, all customers can get a no-sweat NFL same-game parlay to celebrate the occasion. I have a very long-standing tradition in my family, which is my dad, my brother, and I scream all morning about what our big bet of the day is going to be. And because my father is of an older generation, it is always a 3-team teaser. I understand that is not necessarily the sharpest bet, but Thanksgiving is about tradition and whatever cranberry sauce or whatever, like that, what your family does is what you do. So we're going to do a 3-game teaser. I would like to run by my proposed teaser by you two right now. This is real. Like, I am going to propose this on Thanksgiving Day to my brother and my dad. And I would like you to know if I'm going to get screamed at or not. You could do a 3-team teaser and like you can actually mess with the points. It is a 3-team teaser, but I'm only moving the line by 5 points. So it pays out 2-1. Lions giving 5.5 to the Bears. Cowboys getting 1.5 from the Giants, and the Packers getting 1.5 from the Bears. From the Dolphins. So the Packers just have to beat Miami. The Cowboys have to beat the Giants, and the Lions have to beat the Bears by 6 or more. And then you win 2-1. Is this dumb or not?
As teasers usually sound, this sounds great to me. These are all the home teams.
Lions are going to win 52-14.
Home team sweep. I'm betting on the Packers to beat Miami because, frankly, I just think LaFleur is a better coach than than McDaniel. And I think the Packers have a better team than Miami does. And then, I mean, I would like to bet against the Giants on Thanksgiving, to be totally honest. I have enough invested in this stupid team. I can't root for them.
That's fair.
I need to profit off the Cowboys' loss. It
would also be perfect if not only you bet on the Cowboys, you could lose twice if the Giants win in their draft order and also financially, which would
maybe
be
I should bet on the Giants.
Yeah, you really should. You should.
No, we should bet on the Giants because if the Giants win and we lose money, I'll lose my mind. Oh my God. All right. Maybe we'll tweak it. But yeah, if you could do FanDuel, you could do it. I've never seen a 3-team teaser with 2-1, so you can get that on FanDuel. Just place a 3-leg same game parlay, and you'll get bonus bets back if your bet doesn't win. NFL same game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. So what are you waiting for? Start your feast now with the no-sweat same game parlay on America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/RingerFantasy. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in select states or 18 plus and present in D.C. Opt-in required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Max wager $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. All right, let's get into these games here. Thanksgiving. We're starting with Bears are at the Detroit Lions. This is like the noon game? Sorry, I'll actually pull up the times. The Lions are always the first game on Thanksgiving. Dude, underrated part of the Lions' rise is how much like the first 20 years that was like so sad the Lions played every Thanksgiving. Now it's like so American. I'm so excited to watch the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving.
It was always like Aaron Rodgers destroying the Lions, and now it's like, oh, this is cool. Lions actually.
Yeah, this is kind of sick. So yeah, they're at 12:30.
With that said, Jared Goff never won a game on Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, they're going to win this game, right?
Very likely. I looked this up. The Lions are number 1 in DVOA. They're first on offense, second on defense, and first in special teams. I can't remember the last time I saw a team
there's everybody
else dominant. Yeah.
I have 2 fears with the Lions. I'm worried that the Alex Anzalone injury is low-key bad just because he's the play caller defense. I also worried, I swear, it's not just the 2 kicks Jake Bates, the kicker for the Lions, had that like against the Texans where he like scraped the uprights. He has a lot of extra points that have been like that. Like he's like, we have all these crazy advanced stats of like rushing yards over expectation and like all this stuff they chart. We don't have how much you made the field goal by. Isn't that funny? Like we don't have how, like there's no, like it's there, it's static. We don't actually have, did you make the kick by a lot or a little?
We should have, is there a field goal shot chart to show where between the goalposts the ball entered?
This doesn't exist, but I'm telling you, eyeballing it, the Lions kicker has made a lot of kicks by very little, more than any other kicker, and I'm a little worried about this kid. I'm just calling it now. It's not just those 2 kicks. I noticed this before, so I was very concerned when I'm telling you. Anyway, someone make those stats. I don't know how we don't have that.
This is such a dad opinion. I'm worried about this kid. He's not hitting him clean.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he's low-key the weak point. And he got gassed up, which I don't like. I don't like that he's like, they're like, he was selling bricks in Houston a year ago. Now he's beat Houston in the Dome. And I'm like,
I love that he was selling bricks.
He was selling bricks.
He's just rattling in his 3-pointers, no swishes.
Yes, that's exactly it. He's not swishing any
unintentional
of these kicks.
bank shots from straight ahead.
Banks are open.
Tim Duncan kicker.
On the other side of the ball, kind of feel bad for Caleb Williams. Last week he went against the number 1 ranked defense in DVOA and the Vikings, and this week he gets the 2nd ranked defense.
Yeah, now it's Lions. Like he needs to put up 30 points or he's gonna lose.
Yeah. I was thinking that's basically what I wrote down. Bears have basically 0 margin for error. If they make one mistake in this game, they're probably going to lose. Almost surely going to lose.
I do think there is a little bit of potential here for something to happen. I could see this being the game. Caleb looked really good last week against the Vikings defense. The Lions defense is not as good as Minnesota's. I could see Caleb doing something here and making this game interesting, I think.
There we go.
I feel bad that Bears fans have to start their Thanksgivings with this game. Do you know it's so tough for like the Lions to pants you on Thanksgiving and everyone's rooting for them to do it? Everyone's just going to be rooting for the Lions to kick the shit out of Caleb Williams. Everyone's going to be so happy. Like, that's got to be awful.
I feel like Bears fans are just callous. Like they're fine at this point. They can take it.
We have to do a fun FanDuel sponsored bet. I think we should do it on, if we had to pick one player from each team to eat the turkey leg at the end of the game, who will it be? I think for the Lions, is it Dan Campbell? Will Dan Campbell be the one munching down on that turkey leg?
Not Dan Campbell, and here's why. Dan Campbell is such an emotionally intelligent coach, and he is not going to take the opportunity from a player.
Yeah.
He's gonna I think it's gonna be Jahmyr Gibbs because David Montgomery.
I think it's gonna be Goff because he's never won on Thanksgiving.
Oh, and Goff is a given. Goff's like the Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl MVP odds. Like Goff is gonna get a leg, and I think the Lions Gibbs get a leg.
Yeah, the Lions coaching staff, Lions players are constantly like pushing this agenda that Goff doesn't get enough love.
Yeah.
Which ironic because Dan Campbell, when Goff had the game with no incompletions, which was like the first time ever, Dan Campbell didn't give him a game ball and then found out later he was like no incompletions. It was like, oh no, I should have gave him a game ball.
Oh no.
In the press conference, he was like, really?
I could also see Brian Branch.
Oh, I love Brian Branch.
Dark horse.
DK, when we get to the draft show, we're going to have to study how these teams were dumb and didn't listen to you about Brian Branch and take him in the first round.
It's just because he was like small and slow, but he's just like such a good football player. That happens all the time. It happens all the time.
I think the most overrated aspect of being a football player is speed. That might sound stupid, but I just feel like
true.
A lot of the best players, it's like game speed is different than like direct sprinting speed, and that's how we judge these players. And it's like, dude, I don't care if you run a 4-6 or a 4-4.
That's how the Rams got Puka Nacua, because like he didn't have, and it's like, you ever watch Puka Nacua and be like, oh, lumbering out there? No, he's fast enough. Oh my God. Anyway.
Okay, so who we going with? Goff?
Lions, I think Goff is going to need a leg, but they give out 2 or 3 legs. They do the John Madden. They stitch the legs into the turkey. There's like 6.
So we're going to should we do a 6 turkey leg parlay?
I think a 3-leg parlay. There's going to be 3 guys. Goff, I think Gibbs is like, I'll tell you what they're going to do.
Parlay all 3 games. I'm saying we had to parlay all 3 games together.
9 people. Okay, 9 legs.
No.
We're going to get all 9 of them right?
I think if there's anything in the world the 3 of us can do, is we can go 9 for 9 on which players get the turkey legs.
Oh, boy.
I think that the easy
Goff
answer
is a lock.
Montgomery.
Goff, Gibbs, and Montgomery, because they're going to do the Sonic and Knuckles thing.
Yeah,
Montgomery's a little banged up, but as long as he plays, he'll get a touchdown. They'll both get a touchdown. It'll be their 10th game together, whether Gibbs and Montgomery both got a touchdown, which will be like the second most ever. And then Goff, Gibbs, and Montgomery.
Amon-Ra is going to be the one that kills us. Amon-Ra is beloved. He might be the one that kills us. But I like Sonic
beloved.
and Knuckles with Goff. I like that.
Sonic and Knuckles with Goff. Amon-Ra could get in, but like they might just bring all 4. That's the Gibbs won't come without Montgomery. They're a pocket duo, so maybe it's all 4.
I hope Gibbs and Montgomery like Lady and the Tramp, the turkey leg. That'd be fun.
That'd be good.
Okay, so Lions giving 10.5 points. That's easy. Do the teaser. All right. I actually feel better about next game, Giants Cowboys. The Giants are at Dallas. They're playing at 4:30. Can I tell you guys something?
This is tough. This is right when you're eating dinner, Heifetz.
I hate my mom. So my mom and I were talking about when we want Thanksgiving, and when the Giants have played on Thanksgiving, I think 4 times in my life. We usually schedule dinner to watch the game. My mom and I had a 20-minute conversation whether we should schedule dinner during the game so we don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
Because frankly, it ruins everything. It ruins the day.
Well, I had that thought last night going over these games, prepping for the show. The thought crossed my mind, and I did actually do some research on this. Is this the saddest Giants-Cowboys game ever?
Dude, I think you're right.
So here, let me run through it. I went and did a bunch of research on this. I probably wasted way too much time on this question, but
this is amazing.
In 2015, the Cowboys went 4-12 and the Giants went 6-10. So pretty sad season for both teams. However, they faced off in week 1.
That's a lot.
Everyone's hopeful, whatever. And then the Giants, when they won in week 7 over the Cowboys, they improved to 4-3. So hopes were still high for this team. Not particularly sad. 2010, the Cowboys went 6-10, but the Giants were good that year, 10-6. 2004, Cowboys and Giants both went 6-10. The Giants won in the final week to finish second in the division at 6-10. That game was probably pretty sad. However, at least the Giants had Eli Manning, like a real franchise quarterback. The Cowboys had Vinny Testaverde late in his career. He was not very good that year. But I wouldn't say it's like quite as sad, because this is literally like Cooper Rush against DeVito or whoever it is going to be Drew Lock.
I think it's hard to say that any other season has been sadder than this one for the Giants.
Hold on, let me keep going real quick.
Oh,
2002, the Cowboys went 5-11, but the Giants were good that year. They were 10-6. 2001, I think I've landed on that was the saddest Cowboys-Giants game. It was the Cowboys finished 5-11 that year. The Giants were 7-9. The game was the quarterbacks were Kerry Collins. This is in week 7 or something.
I'm glad you had to Google that 2001 was a bad year for New York.
I know. Well, that obviously this was a couple weeks after 9/11, so very clearly a sad day for a sad game for New York in general. But this was Kerry Collins versus Clint Storner.
I've never heard that name.
Me neither. The running back for the running backs.
Clint Storner is a Harry Potter character.
The leading rusher for the Cowboys was Troy Hambrick.
Never heard of him.
Mad at it.
Troy Hambrick and Ron Dane for the Giants.
Oh yeah, Ron Dane.
Ron Dane.
I will say the one boost was Rocket Ishmael went over 100 yards for the Cowboys that game, so that was probably pretty fun. Joe Jurevicius, Seahawks legend, caught 2 touchdowns for the Giants that game. However, all the context. That was the saddest Giants-Cowboys game of all time. I think this is the second saddest Cowboys-Giants game. And I went back before 2000, but basically every season in which the Cowboys were really bad, the Giants were good, or vice versa. And the Cowboys were honestly pretty good from like 1965 to 1985. They won Super Bowls in 71, 77, 92, 93, 95. And the Giants were pretty bad for most of the part, but they had their moments. Super Bowls in 86, 90. They went to the Super Bowl in 2000, but lost. This is second saddest Cowboys-Giants game of all time.
I would argue it's the worst one because both franchises potentially are at rock bottom. Like a decent portion of the franchise of the fan base for Cowboys and Giants believe that this is the worst that's ever been.
Both teams want to lose this game, right?
Heifetz, would you be happy? Would it make your Thanksgiving better or worse if the Giants won by 20?
It would be very weird because my mom and my dad would be like really happy.
Yeah.
I would be kind of stewing because I would know what that means for like.
And your brother's like,
prospects.
hold on, turn it up.
And then my brother's just.
Can you guys be quiet? I need to listen.
DeVito's cooking. He's hurt. DeVito's hurt too. He's banged up.
My brother will be like
sore
just
forearm.
I
been there, pal.
Dude. I don't know. I'm curious.
Heifetz is going to be happy if they win. Shut the hell up.
I was going to say, what do you want? Do you want them to win or lose?
I want them to lose and the season to be fucking over.
Okay.
But if they win, basically it's like if they're going to win, then it's like you might as well enjoy it. Sitting there being miserable during a win is like such a stupid feeling. That's the thing. It's like I would prefer they lose intellectually. When you're sitting there and they're winning and you're in a bad mood, it's kind of like, what the fuck am I doing this for?
Yeah, so I think I agree. I think the Cowboys are going to win. The spread is like hovering between Cowboys favored by 3.5 or 4. I think I'm going to hammer the Cowboys in this game.
Well, normally if the Giants win, I would put my life savings that DeVito would get the turkey leg, but he's hurt now, which is so Drew Lock could start. Unless, do you guys think there's a free agent quarterback the Giants could sign that would know their system?
God, dude. Josh Johnson, what's he doing? Where's he? Is he around? I think he's on the Ravens or something. Hold on. Where is Josh Johnson?
He's the backup for Lamar Jackson, yeah. DeVito being hurt, if he actually couldn't play, the Giants like needed Jones back, but no one wanted to talk to each other, that'd be funny. But I think if the Cowboys win, Micah Parsons, mortal lock for the leg.
Oh, yeah.
But who else? CD?
I think it's CD and Micah no matter what. Think about who else on Dallas.
I don't know. For some reason, CD doesn't strike me as like I want to go get on.
His body language is so bad. I think he just wants to go fucking home.
Yeah.
You know, if you win on Thanksgiving, no, CD's doing it. And then what are they going to do? Put Rico Dowdle on NBC?
I don't think
NBC?
They're giving it to Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush could do it. He's a quarterback. They're not putting Rico Dowdle on Fox.
Zeke for old time's sake?
Just like doing the eat thing, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It would. Yeah. Honestly,
I like Micah and CD's probably.
Micah and CD. I think we're crushing it right now. It's like
Devontae Turpin.
Yeah, Turpin maybe.
I don't know. Just throwing out names here.
I think it's Parsons and CD. Like literally, it doesn't matter if someone else has a pick six in the game. Like it's going to be those two dudes. Okay. Dolphins Packers. Dolphins are at Green Bay. It's weird to see the Packers on a Thanksgiving without playing the Lions. But the Packers are giving 3. Carlos would be mad. Carlos is off, but Carlos would be just talking about the Dolphins here. But I know that
still wearing the jersey
really well,
though. But he checked it. Carlos checked in with us today. He's still wearing that Waddle jersey.
Yeah, I don't think he's taking it off since this winning streak started.
He's actually he's only waddling today. He told me he's just going to waddle everywhere.
Well, people emailed us about when you were talking about celebrations, and they were like, "It was cool when Waddle was good, and he was doing the Waddle."
I agree.
Was fun.
Except that he said his name is pronounced Waddell, which
he didn't. His parents said that, and they just gave up. But it's not spelled that way, and they're like, "We just gave up." How many people could you tell? You know, they just gave up.
Danny Kelly.
But I just think the Packers are a better team than Miami, which is you probably bet on Miami because I said that. But
there's also the whole this is cold weather Tua. This whole narrative. We're back with this. This game's going to be cold. Kickoff temp's going to be like 30. It's probably going to be like in the mid 20s in this game.
When Carlos yelled at me, and he was right, that Tua is playing the last 3 weeks more like creating out of the pocket, like getting buckets as a quarterback, like, you know, managing it and not just like getting the ball in 2 seconds or whatever, like actually extending the play more in the last 3 weeks than I've seen him in his entire career.
Which kind of scares me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it scares everyone. He's not like my son in the stands when I'm watching, but I feel like I'm at a football game with a family friend and their kid is playing, and I'm like the kid doesn't know how to protect himself, and I'm like watching this thing through my fingers.
Tua is 0-4 in games played below 40 degrees. There's a chance of snow on Thursday night. Also, and just in general, I saw this stat. Miami has only won 1 game in the last 32 years when it's 23 degrees or colder.
That's true. Good weather makes you soft. And if you don't think that's true, then you've only lived in good weather.
I don't know. It's pretty nice, though.
Yeah, it's nice, but it makes you soft. I think this is true.
Yeah. Also, the Packers D has been quietly very good, particularly in fantasy. They are number one versus QBs and number one versus wide receivers in fantasy at home this year. The Packers defense.
Yeah, I think this is. I like the Packers in this game.
I like the Packers too.
And I'm sure I pissed off a lot of people with that comment. Let me be more clear. When I moved, I was like pretty good with cold weather. When I moved to Los Angeles, it took like 2 months, and I was such a bitch. Like I couldn't under 60 degrees. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, who cares?
Chilly.
Well, like, why do you don't
when
go
we're
back
betting
then?
on the Miami Dolphins going to Green Bay? I care right now.
Don't
go
care
back
about
to
your
day-to-day
snowy
life.
hometown. Stay in sunny wherever you're living. It's great.
I am not
you don't have
shaming.
to go back.
You
I
have
am
the
not
choice.
What are you talking
I'm
about?
not shaming good weather places. There's a reason that it's a better place to live. I'm saying specifically, if you live in LA or Miami and need to hypothetically play an outdoor football game in Green Bay, Wisconsin on Thanksgiving night, that's a bad thing if you live in good weather. That's all. In that very specific situation, it does not prepare you for that at all.
I think one of the like hallmarks in my life that tells me I'm getting older is I used to like scoff at like snowbird people who would move to warm weather in the winter. And then 2 years ago, the three of us went to Arizona for the Super Bowl in like January.
February,
February, late January, early February. And I was like, okay, I get it.
Yep.
I could kind of like, we're going out to this like really cool bar. Everyone's like in shorts and t-shirts in January. And I'm like, okay, I kind of get it. This is nice.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I feel the sun on my face. Where I live, it's like cold and dreary and gray for like 6 months straight. So, yeah.
FanDuel is cooking up a 4-day Thanksgiving feast with the all gravy weekend. Kicks off Thursday with a no sweat same game parlay. Save room for leftovers because there's even more profit boosts on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So in honor of FanDuel's all gravy weekend, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna figure out this turkey leg parlay here.
Okay. So we're starting with Detroit turkey leg eaters, the two running backs in Goff. Then we're going to give Dallas the win, and we're going to have it be, we're thinking CD and Micah Parsons.
Yes.
And
so
then
we're only
like
going
the
two
Packers,
with the Pack. We're only going two with the Cowboys.
Let's go two.
Okay.
And then if we go Green Bay, it's going to be Jordan Love, maybe Josh Jacobs.
I can see Josh Jacobs.
Green Bay, it's Jordan Love. The Packers defense is so like no one's famous on that defense. You know what I mean? Even though it's weird, a mix of like there's 7 first rounders who play for
Xavier
the Green Bay
McKinney?
defense. Dude, he does. I mean, he's like he almost leads the league in picks. Dude, I think the hottest take I could give you is the Giants actually should have kept Xavier McKinney and not Saquon Barkley. Like Xavier McKinney probably would have made more impact on the Giants.
I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think that's
what about Tucker Kraft? Just like a gritty.
You need to get a big burly tight end and take a hunk out of the turkey leg.
That's Jordan Love. Tucker Kraft is like he's like a farm boy. Midwestern, went to South Dakota State.
SDSU.
I'm looking at pictures of him.
What about Jaden Reed? Tucker Kraft, Jaden Reed, and Love. I guess they need a defender.
I think it's Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs, I feel like
you know what?
Josh Jacobs.
Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, and Xavier McKinney. I think that's a good trio.
Do you guys, when you eat Thanksgiving dinner, does anyone actually just have a turkey leg or no? Do you cut it all up? Does anyone eat a leg of turkey?
The leg of turkey is
I think
awful meat. It's so tough.
What? I like it.
You like the turkey leg? It's just a bit.
No, I like it.
It's just for show. The meat's awful.
No, you can eat it. It's edible.
I know you can.
I don't ever just have the turkey leg on my plate. No one has the turkey leg on their plate. It's just
none of us eat it. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing. It's like for Renaissance fairs.
I like it.
Disneyland. That's our turkey leg parlay. What is that? 8 legs? That'll hit.
8 leg parlay.
8 leg. Get it?
Yeah.
Boom. All right. There's your gravy weekend. Let's do some fantasy court.
Definitely don't tell anyone about this thing that you're doing.
I don't really want to be handcuffed.
The definition of an object is a material thing that can be seen and touched.
It's from Ryan.
Ryan.
Rye guy.
Court's in session, Rye guy. Ryan writes, when I was a kid, my older brother would trade me 3 nickels for a quarter. Flash forward. My brother now has 3 kids.
3 is more than 1. Yeah.
3 is more than 1. My brother has 3 kids. They're 13 years old, 9 years old, and 11 years old. All the kids have their own fantasy teams in our league this year. 13 years old, 11 and 9. My brother just traded with his 9-year-old son or daughter. I don't know. Giving Javonte Williams and Ladd McConkey in return for Ken Walker, forcing his kid to drop Zach Charbonnet. And I know that Ladd McConkey's playing well now, so it's not so crazy lopsided. However, his son is in last place, and the development of Javonte Williams becoming a backup is something his son does not understand. And so he thinks he got 2 starters for 1, i.e., he's doing the 3 nickels for a quarter thing again. I'm the commissioner, so for further clarity, I'm in first. I decided not to make any trade vetoes, whatever. I didn't want to look like I was taking advantage of anybody. But my brother's in 6. He's hyper competitive. I'm sure he knows he ripped off his 9-year-old son. What do you guys think? DK, should a father be allowed to make a trade with his 9-year-old son who's in last place?
Absolutely not. This is like, it's not collusion. It's just like taking advantage of your, it's like, is he trading,
it's like literally affection? Taking candy from a baby.
You're taking Ken Walker from a baby. It's a fantasy conservatorship. It's like the Britney Spears thing.
Here's the problem.
It's a conflict of interest.
To conduct this trade, to actually physically conduct this trade, I'm betting that the father literally had to go on his son's phone and accept the trade for him because his son probably didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, to tell him how to do it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kids these days know how to use phones better than we do, Craig.
That's true, dude. My shout out my cousin Stephanie. They just had a baby, and like this kid's like not even 2 years old yet. He knew how to use the Apple TV better than my father. The kid couldn't speak words, and he could navigate flawlessly the Apple TV.
I understand the Apple TV more. It's like see Netflix, click Netflix. But when I'm like, I guarantee you, this dad was like, all right, open this, go to transactions. That you have to hit accept trade, review trade, accept trade. If the dad is having to physically usher his trade partner through the trade, it's a problem.
I mean, a good rule of thumb, if you're like literally the legal guardian of a child who's like not old enough to like, it's not even in middle school, like 9 years old, the kid hasn't had the talk yet.
Yeah, this is just taking advantage.
But I guess the question here from Ryan is, what does Ryan do about it?
He should veto it. And if the brother complains, play this clip for him. Whatever the dad... DK, should the dad be ashamed of himself, or he just kind of got caught and he's like, you got me?
Yeah, that's the latter.
Interesting. He's trading with the 9-year-old, not the 11 or 13-year-old.
Dude, that's a great take too. The 11, he tried with the 13-year-old and was like, oh, yeah,
he's like, fuck you, dad.
And the 11-year-old was like, nah. And then he's like, I'll take advantage of the youngest son. It's like, you're the dad. You should be stopping the 13-year-old from taking advantage of the 9-year-old.
He's like, I'm just happy my dad wants to talk trades with me.
It's unbelievable.
9-year-olds still love their parents. I think
we know what
you're
on
13. It's not as clear.
Yeah, he's like, son, I'll go have a catch with you if you trade me Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
you know, like the Harbaughs.
I'd have some time actually if you would make a trade for me.
Yeah, it's like the Harbaughs. It's like Jim Harbaugh doesn't get to be loved by his father till he beats John in a football game.
It depends how much you want to fight at Thanksgiving. I honestly think you don't veto this. I don't think the trade is lopsided enough to like get into a fight.
Yeah, McConkey playing really well right now kind of like makes this a moot point. But I
think you bring this up and you make fun of him for it and you express your anger, but I don't think you actually like step in front of this and veto it and cause a whole mess.
The thing that trips it up is that like he might want McConkey back.
Right.
But also, he's not allowed to like hear this clip and be like, see, I gave him McConkey and he's good. No, you knew what you were doing the whole time. The
spirit of
buddy.
This is icky. This smells like crap. This trade.
Disgusting. Please play this at Thanksgiving dinner.
Smell a rat.
Yeah. If you're, Rye Guy, email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Email us back. If you play this at Thanksgiving, please let us know.
Yeah.
How that goes. Okay. All right. Cool. You guys want to get out of here? Happy Thanksgiving. Honestly, I thank you everyone so much for listening the week of Thanksgiving.
We're thankful for you.
We are thankful for you. We actually really are
thankful for. Yeah.
It's the one thing in our life we're thankful for.
Yeah. Pocket passers, Bobby Slowick, every receiver. Like, we hate those people. But actually, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, like, really thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. It's really, really cool. And especially if you're at minute whatever this is of this show, like, thank you the most. You guys are awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Kai, for producing this episode. Thank you, Austin, for doing way too many things. Thank you, Really, honestly, thank you everyone for listening to the show. It has been a very, 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 very fun ride with all of you. We are thankful for you guys. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Coldplay.
Wow. What made you go Coldplay?
I don't know. I just thought of it.
Coldplay, like sneaky juggernaut band, like on tour.
So
Coldplay is our generation's U2.
I can see that.
That's a crazy. Is that true?
That's just, it feels that way to me. I'm just doing this right out of my gut, but it's like, they're going to be around forever. They're going to tour forever. They have a bunch of good songs everybody likes, but they're like a little too in your face about it. It's like, we're always going to have Coldplay pushed on us until I'm 70. And that's kind of like U2. I'll never forget when I got, I shouldn't say this, but I had Apple Music a long time ago. And I don't know if you remember.
Hey, bleep that. Kai, bleep that.
I don't know if you remember. Well, here's why I fucking switched.
They give you the U2 album or whatever?
Yes, they forced that U2 album on us.
Oh, my God.
You can't get rid of it. You can't
I still have it. I still have it. Why did they do that?
I actually don't like U2 because of that. They bother me.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's the most... Here's the thing about it. It's the most ridiculous album cover to put on everyone's phone.
I don't even remember what it was. What was it?
I don't either.
It's like it's like Bono or the edge of one of them like hugging the other guy and he's like shirtless and it's like waist level and it's like not like inappropriate, but it's a crazy thing that if you accidentally hit play on your phone and you're not playing music, it just pops up. It's a crazy thing.
Jesus,
like here,
Nancy
I'll do it
Reagan
right now.
over
Look.
here.
What?
I said Nancy Reagan over here.
I'm just saying, like, if you're just playing something, like if you just hit play, it comes up on your phone. I don't know. It's like, but
Heifetz
do you think YouTube
Heifetz is like complaining about Post Malone's face tattoos. He's
put your shirt on, Bono.
I'm just saying, it's a weird cover to put on everyone's phone without any choice.
When did Heifetz become like a conservative father? This is funny.
Was the Post Malone face tat thing that controversial?
It's
I said I don't know about the face.
It just feels like a very antiquated thing to complain about.
Heifetz is wearing a sweater right now.
I don't mind tattoos. I like tattoos. I don't know. There's just a lot going on with him.
This is so funny. Let's keep track of this, Craig.
What else don't you
Craig's tough on crime, Craig, out here in fantasy court.
Yeah,
DK wants to be a snowbird. And then I'm like, I don't know about all these tattoos.
Heifetz is like, leave room for Jesus, Bono.
Oh, my God. Yeah, this is like the commercial where you become your parents, the progressive.
Oh, those progressive commercials are so good.
Those are really
good.
Dude.
It's like, oh, my God, I want to become a snowbird. Heifetz is like, oh my God, I hate tattoos on faces.
It is becoming your parent. Dude, those are so, the blue. We all see it. They're so good. The other one that's outrageously good, tell me you guys are still recording.
I'm still recording.
Yeah.
The one that's so good, and it hit me too deep, was the one where he's like there with LL Cool J. And it's like, don't say anything. And then he's like, oh, hey. Can we take a picture? And I'm like, that's my father. That is my dad. And he's like, oh, no, that's not. You have to turn the camera around. Like, literally, I think my dad's done that multiple times.
Yeah.
Where it's like, chill. That person's famous. Don't say anything. My dad just walks right up to him. Just unbelievable.
Do you think you'll become that?
Yeah, I'm journalism. It's like my whole job.
Heifetz ran up and took a picture with Big Dom at the combine.
Yeah. Shout out Big Dom.
Oh, God.
I would never do that with like an NFL person. That would be inappropriate.
But right? Like, Heifetz, if you saw, I don't know, Chris Evans at the mall, would you go up to him?
No, that's not.
Of course he would. Come on.
Chris Evans? What am I going to say to Chris Evans? I don't think I need to say to him.
Heifetz. We saw
Hey, Cap, thanks for your service.
Everything I know about you everything I know about you in the years I've known you, tell me, it all points to you going up to him and talking to him.
That's cool. If you take the photo out of it, yeah, I would do that. I wouldn't take the photo with him.
You're going to go up and say, good to see you again, Chris.
I did that to Jerry Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? I've never met you in my 83 years on this planet.
Yeah, you're the most shameless person I know. So you absolutely are going to go introduce yourself to Chris Evans, Captain America. You're going to be, what's up, Cap?
Cap!
You're going to like do some like dorky thing from the movie. I could do this all day.
You see Bono and you're like, you should have put your shirt on. I was 13 years old.
That was sexually suggestive.
There needed to be a parental advisory sticker on that photo.
I don't want that in my house.
It is funny that I've never listened to the album.
No one has. No one has.
It's that weird. No one
might not even be music on it.
It's like your fantasy football. If anyone has any stories about the Bono album,
there could have been no music on it, and it was just literally an advertisement.
It's the Jamarcus Russell test. There's nothing on there, but no one listened. No one knew.
No one figured.
No one knew. That will happen with Coldplay in 20 years.
You do Jamarcus Russell. Oh my God. All right. Goodbye, everyone.